I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 152, Hydro Thunder. Released in 1999, this game was developed and published by Midway. This is a game I was quite familiar with from playing it in the arcade. Not like I'm an expert or anything, but I had certainly played it multiple times. Honestly, I had no idea it was on the N64, or any console for that matter. Now, porting a modern arcade game to the N64, it's probably quite the downgrade, but you know, can't exactly bring that giant thing home with you. Although this is ultimately yet another racing game on the console, I think it's a pretty unique one. I was quite excited going in, so yeah, let's get into it.
Hydro Thunder!
So this game just has 13 tracks to race, so we will be completing all these races to beat this game. To start, I only had the 3 easy ones available, so I went with Lost Island. Then I had to choose my boat with 3 in total. No idea what any of them did for now, so I just picked Midway. It said I needed to finish in the top 3 to unlock the medium tracks. Seems easy enough.
3, 2, 1, go, go, go!
Ah man, right away in the race I was hit with some nostalgia. Seeing those boosts just like I remember it at my local movie theater. The blue boosts last 4 seconds while the red ones last 9. For the controls, all you do is steer with the joystick, accelerate and brake with A and B, and C uses the boost. The cool thing is when you run into another racer with boost active, they just get launched away. Always so satisfying. So this track had a tour boat part of the way through that just would not get out of my way. Come on dude, there's a race going on. There was part of this track that took me inside a cave with a volcano. I jumped over but clipped the top of it. Surprisingly, I stuck the landing beautifully. You might think that was intentional. At the very end of the track, there was a ramp where I yeeted the guy in third all the way to the goal. Fortunately, I passed someone else during the jump, so it was fine. It said I only needed top 3, right? The second track I did was Thunder Park. This one was much more like a traditional race course. Felt like I was going through a track designed for racing rather than some rogue race through a random river. This one was a lot different than the last because it had me doing 3 laps through the track instead of a singular long line. Not only that, but the boosts that I had picked up on a previous lap were now transparent and I couldn't collect them again. Too bad I can't farm them. Really, this one was quite simple. I got second place on my very first try, nearly took the win. And then it was time for the third and final easy track, Arctic Circle. This one had me going through a snowy mountain range. I think there might be an oil drilling operation going on here. There was an icy cave that looked really cool. None of these tracks were that difficult to drive on, but it would certainly get harder. The highlight of this one was definitely the big boat that showed up. I couldn't believe it when it hit the ramp. That's awesome they made it do that. There was a different cave that had me driving on land. Apparently these boats can handle that, so that's cool. Oh, and along with the big boat, there was a killer whale that showed up. This place is just full of surprises. After making it to what is clearly an oil rig, I finished the track. However, I was in 4th place, which was not the top 3. Had to do this one again. On the next run through of the track, I tried out doing a hydro jump to enter a high cave. It worked beautifully, and this turned out to be quite the shortcut. I went all the way from 11th to 6th, just like that. The hydro jump is weird. You have to be accelerating, let go of A, press the brake, then press the boost. There's kind of a rhythm to it, but it's fairly lenient. Just because you can hydro jump doesn't mean it's always a good idea. Here I jumped straight into a wall and yep, that's certainly one way to kill a run. I'll take this time to talk about the graphics and music. The graphics are honestly really good. Sure, they're nothing compared to the arcade version, but I think all the textures look great and many colors pop out. Honestly, it runs at a pretty smooth frame rate too. The music is solid, I'll say. The tracks vary quite a bit, and it feels like each one is themed toward the environment of that specific race. It's pretty cool. While the music itself is good, it's quite quiet on this version. You can turn up the audio, but it seems to not matter much. Almost like it's not there unless you really pay attention. So anyway, after a few tries, I took down this race with 1st place. With that done, I had unlocked 3 new medium tracks. I started with the Far East. I had also unlocked 3 new boats, and I went with the Banshee. According to the manual, it was the fastest boat while getting knocked around the most. It said I now needed to get second place or better to unlock the hard courses. Game getting tougher. I learned a new technique to get a super boosted start, and it's honestly kinda nonsense. You have to hold B while the course is loading, then swap to A when the 3 fades away, back to B with the 2, and finally back to A with the 1. This gives a boosted start along with a 4-second boost to use during the race. How is anyone supposed to figure this out if they're playing at an arcade? There was a secret route that was a bit hard to reach near the start. It went through a tunnel and it gave a massive advantage. I was struggling a bit with controlling the new boat, like it's significantly faster than what I was using before. Like, look how absurd this jump is. I will say, it feels pretty awesome to do that though. Almost like this game is both a water racer and an air racer. The main feature of this track is a police boat that just did not care. It was zooming through the track as fast as we were, and it was not afraid to knock other boats around. Further into the level there were these tunnels that were keeping the boost just out of reach unless I did a hydro jump. I guess seeing this would make you think something was missing if you didn't know the tech yet. The game was certainly hard now. I just barely passed someone else to take second place at the last second. 1 of 3 down. Next medium track was Lake Powell. Kinda looks like we're racing through the Grand Canyon. And it's filled with water for some reason. This game is all about finding the secrets. Sometimes you just sort of miss the mark on what actually is one. Oh, whoops, that looks like a tunnel. Look, the graphics aren't exactly in 4K, so you gotta make some estimations sometimes. God, I just love going for these huge jumps. It was required to reach the +9 boost in this case, but I would've just done it for fun too. Later, there was a cave with bats flying everywhere and some kind of ancient looking village. I thought I could shortcut up there, but nope, invisible wall. Also learned if you try to go the wrong way, the game just forces you to make a U-turn. The secret wound up being in the most obvious place. Why, behind a waterfall, of course. Classic gaming folklore. This hidden tunnel had a lot of boats parked in it, and it would be a nightmare if you came in here without a boost. Unfortunately, I made the mistake of thinking the other waterfall obscured a secret. Silly me. Aw man, look at this helicopter just off this ramp. I wanted to ram it with a boost so bad. There was an insane jump after that, and I'm not sure how you're supposed to reach that +9 boost. Like, come on, I wasn't even close. Probably the best chance of hitting the helicopter here too. I think the way to reach that one is to do a small jump onto the top of the dam, then jump from there to the boost. Seems really hard to pull off. The track just ends after this jump, and I barely stole second place at the very last second. Hey, I'll take it. The third medium track was called the Greek Isles. It starts with going through a canal in a village. Could mistake this for taking place in Venice. The police boat here was yelling at us in Greek. At least I assume that's what he's speaking. Dude, I don't know what you're telling me to do, I'm just a tourist. We then went into what looks like the Colosseum. I swear this level is just Italy. Or maybe it's me being a dumb American and not knowing anything about Greece. There was a weird looking bird creature here too. Oh man, then there's this area with ruins and a fallen statue. The race ends by going down this windy ramp and it's just complete chaos. Thankfully these invisible walls are here. Otherwise, I'd be going off into the abyss. Wasn't even close to top 2 this attempt, but that's okay. On my second try, I narrowly snuck in to get second place. With that, all the medium courses were done. Time for hard. I had to get first place on these, no more leeway now. First up was Ship Graveyard. Quite the dark and gloomy course as we mourn the loss of all these wonderful boats. As I was yeeting the police boat into oblivion, I found a light shortcut hidden behind a waterfall. Ooh, how original. Then there was this big boat that was ripped open through the middle. I think those are nuclear waste barrels inside. Probably not good for the local fish population. After an absurd jump down 2 drops, there was a big shark in the water, along with yet another waterfall guarding a secret path. They sure loved using these. I got third place on my first try, not too bad I'd say. Turning in this game is real tough. If you don't already know you're gonna turn and where you want to go before you see it, you may as well not bother. Like here, it's impossible to pivot to the red boost because I needed to already be turning like 3 seconds ago. This leads to the player having to just kind of memorize the exact best route through every level. Not necessarily a bad thing, but there's little to do in the way of making a good play on the fly. Speaking of flying, getting this boost on the huge drop is so satisfying. Man, it was really hard to secure first place here. After like a half hour of trying, I finally got second place, but first was still a ways off. Really, it was mostly about landing cleanly on the +9 boost at the big boat. Such a hard jump. Once I had a run with that, I took first place, although it was quite close. I think we got it. Oh man, that's tough. Okay, so the next track is called Venice Canals. I guess that really was Greece earlier. It's also nighttime with a beautiful full moon visible. There's a couple of times in this track where you can do a jump over a barrier to skip a hairpin turn. Easy to do and saves a lot of time. Also, there are several +9 boosts that require a hydro jump. It would have blew my mind as a kid seeing some guy fly around like this in the arcade. Then, whatever this is happened. I clipped through the wall. Okay, I'll take it. I like clipped on the building, but inside of it? Cool looking trick. Okay, what is this flooded chapel supposed to be? There's no way the canals just go indoor like this. I also love the little effect of the minimap getting staticky when you go indoors. I think that's just a nice little touch. In another indoor chapel, I launched myself in the air straight through the stained glass window. All in all, it went decent. I was in third place on my first attempt. A bit over 10 minutes later, I was on a run where I reached second place quite early. However, first was nowhere to be seen. They really make it so hard to win one of these races. I took first at the big stained glass jump, but I also slammed into the wall. Ugh, second place, are you kidding me? It took well over half an hour on this one, but I finally won. I say that like it's some insane thing, but a half hour isn't all that long in the grand scheme of things. The final hard track was called New York Disaster. And yeah, this is a disaster. The entire place is flooded. I actually visited the city for the first time recently. I definitely recommend going there and getting some pizza. Of course, with the city flooded, we had to make our way into the infamous sewers. Surprised there's no killer rats. Okay, this disaster goes much further than I thought. It's not just a flood, but a volcano is also spawned in Times Square. Holy heck, man, that is not good. Of course, the subway tunnels are also flooded. The biggest surprise of all is the high jump out of the subway leading to a crashed Titanic and sunken Statue of Liberty. I think the devs were just going with literally any idea they had here. I nearly won on my third try. No, oh, come on, dude. No. Unfortunately, I launched the leader into the goal. Had I just moved a bit to the left, I would have won. A similar situation was happening on the next attempt, and it went different this time. Yes! Yeah, dude, get wrecked! Honestly, that track was pretty easy compared to some of the others. With that, all the regular tracks had been beaten. I'd now unlocked the first of the bonus courses, Catacombs. I'm not sure if this is specifically supposed to be the French Catacombs or just some generic one. The level designers had gone rogue at this point, putting waterfalls without secrets behind them. That should be against the law, man. I was in third at the end, but to my surprise, this track had laps. Well, that's convenient. I won this on my third go at it. With so much time to drive, it's just easier to eventually pass everyone. For beating this, I unlocked the next bonus track, Hydro Speedway. Along with that, I unlocked the first bonus boat, the Tiny Tanic. It's hilarious that one of the smokestack things is angled down and used as exhaust for the boost. It doesn't really control as bad as you might expect. For this track, it's nothing special really, just a basic race course with 3 laps, so I had to make sure to take all the different paths to use up every boost. I won on my first try in quite the interesting way. Beating that race unlocked the Castle Von Dandy course, along with the Armed Response bonus boat. Now I could control those annoying police ones. Also, why is there a guy manning a turret on the back? It actually shoots the other racers as you go by, but I think it doesn't actually affect them. The turning on this is horrendous. Definitely not something you want to use regularly. A bit into the track is the castle itself. Beyond the portcullis lies a ruined area filled with bats. The sky is red, which definitely means something ominous is happening. Man, I was so lucky all these bonus tracks had laps. It made them feel like a victory lap rather than an additional harder challenge. I won this one first try, and it was on to the last one. The final track is called Mile Adventure, and I had unlocked a new boat called Blowfish. Looks kinda like that hovercraft from Body Harvest. The way this thing turned made it feel like I was driving with ice physics. Past the initial pyramids and stuff was a sunken ruins with waterfalls at the entrance. The aesthetics of these tracks were on point, I must say. Impressive lighting in these tunnels for the N64 as well. It opened into a ginormous tunnel that felt like the ceiling went up forever. Definitely a fitting final course. Even a required waterfall secret at the end. Oh my goodness, after that temple I went inside a snake. Then there was a snake slithering around inside the snake? I'm not sure what they were going for here. After that was the most windy tunnel of the game yet. With this boat, it was impossible to cleanly navigate it. A sarcophagus opened to reveal a secret path where it was so narrow I couldn't possibly screw up. Oh, what is this? Nah, we gotta see what that is. Huge spiderwebs lined all the walls. They don't slow you down though. This exited to space? This course has every theme crammed all into one. I don't know what this purple area is supposed to be. The Illuminati tunnel? Past here was a spinning ground filled with alligators. Oh my god, what were these people on creating this? The most disorienting tunnel in existence was after here. Like one of those things at a science museum designed to make you fall down. I don't even know what this is supposed to be. Some kind of like one-eyed sea monster with pincers? Maybe a centipede? It finally ended past here, and I barely took first place on my first try. No laps this time. Man, that was an awesome final track though. Definitely fitting. For beating that one, I unlocked the final secret boat, the Chumdinger. It's just a guy on a small fishing boat. For some reason, he brought a dog with him and it barks while you drive. The dog's barking. I think they gave it the best stats in the game because it controlled quite well. Worth unlocking to destroy your friends. But yeah, that's about all there is for this one. Game complete. So yeah, there you have it. My journey to beating Hydro Thunder. This game was probably considered something to get if you liked Wave Race, and yeah, I think it does alright to fulfill that role. With 13 tracks in total, that's definitely enough to feel satisfied to me. The different boats control quite differently too, and there's a high skill cap with the boosts and usage of hydro jumps. The audio wasn't the greatest on the N64, but I know it's better in the arcade version. The graphics were fantastic for the N64 though, definitely impressed with that. It's a good time, and I'd say it's worth checking out if you like alternative racers. If I had to choose between the two, I'd probably pick Wave Race just for nostalgia reasons. If you do decide to play it, I'd recommend hunting down an arcade cabinet near you, or just play the Dreamcast version. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10 for enjoyability, and a 5.5 out of 10 for difficulty. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Have a sneak peek at the next game. There's 239 on the list. Let's see what we're playing. 3, 2, 1, go. 205. Oh man, it's the end of the list. What's it gonna be? We are playing Taz Express. The heck is that? But yeah, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. It helps the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one.